not because it's they intend to force their way on the people. They believe it is a natural thing for what they intend a Christianized community to function like, with the church central to people's outlooks.
This week at the Kenworthy, Christ Church will hold a town hall meeting on the recent Christ Church controversy on Thursday, December 11th. Doors open at 7 p.m. and admission is free to the public.
And it's our goal to answer as many questions tonight from outside of our church community concerning the recent flurry of articles in the newspaper concerning Christ Church, concerning Doug Wilson, concerning slave conferences or racism. And we think that there have been some serious misunderstandings and a misunderstanding of the facts. And we hope that we can resolve some of these misunderstandings tonight.
What are your plans? I hear all these rumors. These guys come to town and pretty much going to take over. They're going to buy Moscow Hotel. Maybe they're going to buy gardens.
Well, if the new St. Andrews and Christ Church buys up a lot of downtown, what happens to our tax base?
And as I listened tonight and over these last months, it seems like there is a sense of you and your folks that are tight, and then there's this idea of the secularists, and I'm afraid I may be one, as maybe everyone else in this room. So the issue of us and them is a problem for me as a community builder. Because as long as we are all secularists, you don't know which one is deeply religious, deeply spiritual, someone who has tremendous education or someone who has tremendous compassion. You don't see the individuality of the secularists. So if we individually are not of value because we are secularists, our politics, which you decry, but we take as the development of community ethics and a community future. You don't take part in those. You would have our government schools disbanded. I can't figure out quite why you settled in Moscow. What do we have that you want except the opportunity to convert us from being secularists to being Trinitarians? I can't figure out why you would sit in the middle of Moscow.
It happened organically. So it wasn't like we all got together in Omaha, all 800 of us, and said, what's a vulnerable town? This has happened far more organically than that. So when our church started, there were maybe 30 people of it, and 30 people in it in the mid-70s, and that's how this all started. The other question about the secularism, and this might take a nuanced understanding. We do not believe that the community is divided into two camps, Trinitarians and secularists. We don't believe that. I think it'd be fairer to describe a minority that we're part of. I don't think our church is the only church that represents this, but there's a minority that we're part of that I would describe as self-conscious Trinitarians. And then on the other end of our community, people who are self-conscious secularists. You know, whether we might speak of it in political terms, hardcore leftists or secularists, or, you know, that sort of thing.
I'd like to say, first of all, that I'm an unabashed Trinitarian, evangelical Christian, and I am proud and humbled to serve on the Moscow School District Board of Trustees. I thank God every day for our public schools, and I thank God every day for the opportunity to serve them. And I deeply regret, I'm offended by, and hurt beyond description, that you are able to sit there and suggest that you're opting to sort of opt out of the system of public education is as relatively innocuous, indeed noble, as you presume that it is. So my first question involves what your plan is for educating those who are not the 400 children involved in either Christ Church or Logos. My presumption, and I am familiar with Reconstructionism and postmillennialism and Calvinism, and so I am left to conclude, unfortunately, that since your Calvinism would seemingly require you to believe that some people are simply chosen before birth for eternity with God, and some are chosen before birth for eternity without God, that it would in fact be unseemly for a devout Calvinist to care a whole lot about those presumably unchosen children in public schools. And if God doesn't care about them, it would indeed be a little awkward, if not unseemly, and certainly impractical for those of us to care about them. That offends me, as a Christian, as a taxpayer, as a school board member, and as a parent.
I don't know how to formulate this in a way that doesn't sound flip. I'm not trying to be flip with this. But these kids that are not in our community and so forth have parents. And I think that their parents ought to educate them and take responsibility for educating them. And when, if I were to sketch out an ideal situation, I do not believe in the annihilation of the public schools. I don't believe in the vaporization of the public schools. I would be happy with the privatization of the public schools, and I'd be happy with a Jewish school and a secularist school, and all the different schools that represent the cross-section of Moscow's population. I don't think that only Christians should have the right to educate their children.
I think that people want to hear what else goes on.
No, I think they're done.
I don't want to hear it. That's not what I come here for.
Yeah,
Talk to your lawyer, go to their school board, do whatever. I don't
you know,
care.
you're invited. You've been invited twice to come to speak to the Logos School Board. You didn't come. You're invited again.
Well, I think that the issue here is about slavery, right? I mean, you're talking about slavery. Yeah, it's about whether or not you restrict slavery to just your church or whether or not it's taught at your school. Do you want to see a picture of that?
No.
Okay, this is a picture of the fourth grade classroom, which they celebrate Robert E. Lee's birthday. Now you tell me, they don't celebrate Abraham Lincoln's birthday. Now how come that is? You know, I mean, if there's no connection between the church and the
I
school.
think this is not the place for this kind of question and these kind of...
You're afraid for what I have to say.
No.
And you know what? People told me that this would happen.
This is not an appropriate place.
Well, are you a crisis member?
I am not.
Okay. Well, I'm representing what's being done to children. I will say that their
Thank you. Can we have the
reaction,
next question?
if you attack these people, which makes them a cult, what they will say is, Matthew 11:5, if you are persecuted, then somehow they're in God's favor, and that's a good thing.
Thank you.
Okay?